Gun Freak Nation, I want to talk about what's been going on the last 48 hours. The unidentified objects that's been shot down by the United States Air Force. One of them took place today over Michigan, over Lake Huron. Um, this is my theory. You know, I will say this: UFOs, unidentified flying objects, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, same thing. In my opinion, they are real because I've experienced multiple times orbs that, oh man, it wasn't mechanical. It was orbs that would multiply into other orbs. Um, One day I will do a video on the my encounter that I saw. My ring last year caught footage, but I don't want to touch on that yet. I want to talk about what's currently happening now. I was saying that it's been happening, but in my opinion, what brought it out was that Chinese balloon. I think that President Biden was humiliated. The Republicans, it was a field day and talking about how weak he was to allow that balloon, that spy balloon, to float across the entire United States. Okay? And it embarrassed him, humiliated to the point to where he got on the phone with the military and was like, whatever that coming to the United States territory, shoot it down. So we've had three objects within the last couple of days or whatever. I think the other shoot down might have been Friday or Saturday. We had a shoot down over Alaska. I believe it may have been Friday or Saturday. We had a shoot down over Canada yesterday, and today we had a shoot down over Michigan, over Lake Huron. But before that shoot down that took place today in Michigan, they closed off the airspace of Montana. They shut the airspace down. The Department of Defense shut it down because they said a radars detected an object and it got away. It was some type of radar anomaly, which they said today the same object that was shot down over Lake Huron in Michigan was the object that triggered the alert in Montana, causing them to shut down the airspace. So, let's go back. Let's rewind. Let's rewind and go back some years. If you recall, a couple of years ago, the United States either leaked and they later released videos from a 2004 encounter and I believe a 2007 encounter. That 2004 encounter took place off the coast of California, where they had on the Navy fleet, right? Where they got the carrier groups. You got the aircraft carrier, you got the battleships. They recently had upgraded their radar systems. Okay? When they upgraded, when the radar systems were upgraded, they started seeing all these strange anomalies appearing on the radar because they couldn't see it before, but they upgraded their radar system, which made them, the systems, stronger. They started seeing anomalies appear on the radar, and they sent fighter jets to go see what they were because they was coming from what I saw, And from what they said, these anomalies were coming from outer space and would drop from outer space to above the ocean in like a split second, like 2 seconds. And then they was just taking off. So they saw it. They sent fighter jets to see what it were, to try to find out what these anomalies were. Two fighter jets spotted something that they initially thought was an airliner in the ocean that had crashed and was sinking. But upon closer inspection, they didn't know what it was. It was the pilot said it would go from point A to point B. Point B back to point A. Traveling like that, which I don't know of anything conventional that could do that, to maneuver like that. So they started circling around it while it was still, in the water. Well, hovering over the water, the ocean. Eventually, whatever this object was, they said it was what's that word? Cylinder. What's that word, baby? Cylindrical. Yeah, cylindrical. They said it was white and cylindrical, and they said as the pilot was circling around to try to go down to get lower to it, it just shot up and matched the same speed and everything. And it was just doing some stuff that no conventional craft could do. And it's like it read the pilot's mind. It knew where the jets was going to land, and it beat them to it. So it was some crazy stuff. They call it the Tic Tac. That was the 2004 incident, and this video of it, because the fighter jets, they got radar footage, surveillance footage of it. Well, mainly radar footage. All right. So 2007, it was another object that was caught. I believe this was off the coast of Florida or North Carolina. But the reason why I'm bringing it up, these objects are not new. What is new is that I think because of the Chinese spy balloon embarrassed the president, he's giving orders to shoot down any and everything that violates our space, our airspace, territorial airspace, right? So, either the United States, I noticed that the aircraft that's doing it is like the F-22s, high-end aircraft. We got the F-35s. They doing it. It's a new missile that they got, air-to-air missile. And they probably upgraded their radar systems. I noticed they was talking about infrared because I don't know too much about the incident over Alaska. They brought down the aircraft, but if you notice that they're not showing the debris. Unlike with the balloon, when they shot down the balloon, the Chinese spy balloon, they showed when it was shot down and the debris and everything, them retrieving it. If you notice, they're not doing it in these situations. And they're kind of letting the cat out the bag. This government have been known about these UFOs for years, man. But I think because of Biden was embarrassed, humiliated, because he didn't do anything about the Chinese balloon. This is just my theory. He telling them to shoot any and everything down. Okay? Now, if you notice, they're not talking. They backtracking now, saying, "Oh yeah, it's balloon." That's what I've seen on TV. Some people still saying that it's cylindrical. Now, this is the crazy part. Like I said, I don't know too much about the object that was shot down over Alaska, but the Canadian Defense Minister and other sources have said the object that was taken out, that was shot down over Canada, over the Yukon area, area of Canada, they said it was cylindrical. and that pilots, fighter pilots, that initially went to intercept it was mind boggled because pilots said that it interfered with their radar systems. Their targeting systems were rendered, what's the word? They jammed their targeting. Whatever the object was, it jammed their targeting systems, and it was just interfering, jamming their systems. So that disturbed them. And they also said they saw no propulsion. Whatever this object was, it didn't have, in order to fly conventionally, it's got to be an aircraft that got wings on it, or either helicopter blades, or wings, or an engine. You know what I'm saying? Jet engines. They said this object had no means that they can identify as a propulsion system, and that it was what's the word again? Cylindrical. Yeah. They said it was cylindrical in shape, and the Canadian defense minister said the same thing. So that means, imagine if you take a can of soup or something. You take this can, or a can of vegetables, or a can of soup. You got a can. Imagine if you turn it over on the side. That's the shape of it. The same thing that they described from 2004 that outflew and outmaneuvered the best of the best. Okay? So, we haven't heard anything else. That same day after they shot that one down, they closed off the airspace of Montana. They said that the Department of Defense shut it down. It was shut down for like an hour because they said they picked up something on the radar. So I don't know whether the United States military has upgraded their radar, or they're using what is that word? I just said it earlier and I don't forget. Anyway, they're able to see these things more, and for all we know, they may have been seeing them and just ignored it. But because of that Chinese spy balloon, they paying closer attention and they shooting these things down. Now, earlier today at around 2:30, they said it was one shot down over Michigan, over Lake Huron. So, you tell me, I want to know what the hell is going on, especially if they're not balloons and if they're cylindrical in shape. Could it be Russian top secret craft, spy craft, or top secret drones? If so, how in the hell are these things flying and they're in the shape of a cylindrical? I don't understand it. Because from my understanding from the 2004 incident that the United States admit to, this thing outflew the very best aircraft that they had at the time, which I believe was an F-16 or an F-15. This thing was anti-gravity. This thing was moving at Mach 10, Mach 20. A human couldn't withstand those speeds unless they got some type of technology that they keep in secret that can put some type of bubble. And these things are flying within this bubble. And when they're inside this anti-gravity bubble, they can move at speeds and they're not affected because they got that bubble protecting them. And if this is Earth technology like China or Russia or even the United States, that's insane. That's crazy. But I don't know of no technology on this Earth that could do that. So I'm just saying there's something that's not right. And I can see a cover up has already started because now they're trying to say that indeed they were balloons. They just wasn't as big as the one that the Chinese spy balloon. But if you go back to the initial reports, and by the way, these pilots are professionals. They are trained to spot and identify things. If they said that the thing that was shot down over Canada was cylindrical, they said that it had no means of propulsion, that they didn't know how it was sustained and stand up in the air. And at the same time, if these objects are so fucking advanced, how in the hell did they allow themselves to be shot down? And the word I was looking for earlier is infrared. Unless the United States got a new upgraded weapon system that can use infrared. Because I heard that these objects can cloak themselves. But if you look at the sky and look at them through infrared, you can spot them. You can see them through infrared. So maybe that's how they taking them out. So I don't know. It's just weird, man. All these shoot downs and so short of a time span. They're shutting down airspaces, man. I don't know what is going on. I don't know what's going on. But I will tell you that from my 2016 encounter, when I saw one literally at treetop level, it blew me away. This orb, it was an orb that spawned another orb. I'll never forget it as long as I live. It was reddish, orange, and it was an orb. It was, the light on it was so subtle and amber. It had like energy just swirling all around in it. It was like moving, like it was like an energy ball. But it was the most beautiful color I've ever seen. I had just got back from visiting my mom that was at Sinai Hospital at the time. And unfortunately, I had drank my battery down because when I would go visit my mom, I would play all her favorite songs to try to, stimulate her mind because she had a stroke. So on that particular night when I got back, I spotted something in the sky that just didn't look normal. So, my son was like, Dad, it's just an airplane, it's just a helicopter, let's get in the house. Something drew me out there to just stay out there because it was getting closer and closer. I'm like, holy crap. When it finally got to the point to where I can see it, and I saw that it was like a ball of energy, an orb. It had all kind of like energy looking things, like swimming around in it, like swirling around in it. It's like it noticed me because it stopped and I was looking at it. And then after a couple of minutes, it just started to get brighter and brighter. As if somebody was turning up like a dimmer. You know how you have those dimmers for a light and you can turn it down low and you can turn it up bright. It was like it got bright. But what's so weird about it was that the light that was in it stayed within it. It was trapped in it. It wasn't like a flashlight that illuminates stuff around. It wasn't like a strobe light or anything that illuminated. This light stayed within, and it got brighter and brighter. And as it got super bright, stuff started dripping off of it, like falling down, like molten metal. And that molten metal, what I believe that what happened was it formed another one. Because as soon as it started dripping that stuff off, like molten metal, like fire, another one came up from behind the trees, and both our jaws just dropped. I immediately ran in the house and started screaming, there's UFOs outside. My oldest brother was there, and my niece was there, and they ran out on the porch, and the four of us saw it. And I ran in the house. I didn't have any battery power left on the phone, but I had this old ass JVC camcorder. It was so old it wasn't even in HD. And I was like, I'm just desperate right now. And it had been sitting forever. I put the battery in it, and it had a little battery life left. And I ran out there and I started filming it. And I opened, it was the kind that got the viewfinder that you pop out. And I'm looking. That thing was so old, it wouldn't even show up at the time in my viewfinder. I couldn't even see it. It wouldn't even pick it up. So I just closed it and I just kept looking at it. But the crazy thing is, once when I imported the video into the computer, it did capture it. It didn't do it justice because these things were like just a beautiful color, man. Like reddish, orange, amber lights. And I caught it. Like a few seconds of it on that video. And I still have that footage to this day. And I will be uploading it soon. Fast forward 2022. My Ring camera caught an orb that just, I don't know, man. I can't describe it, but it caught it. It's like this thing materialized at ground level and it formed the orb and it just went straight up. I got that on footage too. So I will be releasing, uploading those videos soon. But I just feel like something is going on. Either they trying to get ready to tell us something, or whether they don't told too much more than what they want to tell, because I see now that they're trying to backtrack and say that they just balloons. But if that's the case, why are they not showing the debris that's being, collected from the crash site? They didn't have a problem showing that Chinese spy balloon, and they got that out the ocean. So why are they not talking about the object that they shot down over Alaska, or the one they did shot down yesterday over Canada, or the one that was shot down over, in Michigan today? I just think something ain't right, and I think it's a cover up. I think the cover up it's either two things that's gonna happen. They're gonna continue to cover this up and lie and say they spy balloons, or they bracing us and getting us ready to let us know, look, man, we got extraterrestrial activity going on, and they about to let us know, finally. It's one or the other. Because it just, I can't see them saying, okay, we got another object we shot down. And if you notice, they're not saying, when it happened, they're not saying balloons, they're saying objects. So when you got the Canadian Defense Minister and pilots describing them as cylindrical, that they can't find a propulsion system, and they don't know how they stand up in the air, either somebody got some spectacular technology, or we being visited from another world, man, So I don't know what to think. That's just my theory. Y'all stay safe out there, Gun Freak Nation. But y'all asked me to do an update, and that's just my opinion, my theory. I love y'all. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay righteous. And be ready to send a funky savage to Funky Town. It might be an alien. I love y'all, God Freak Nation. Salute.